Xiaomi hopes to put together all of the best features from the last year's worth of smartphones into one cohesive package. Pretty easy to notice the design of the Mi 6, mostly because there are quite a few colors, but the main one is a blue with gold accent. It's almost like a reverse Iron Man of sorts, and it's incredibly eye-popping. It's definitely different from the standard black and the standard white. But I will tell you about a couple of other, somewhat more exclusive colors. The highly exclusive one is one that's not even available for the public just yet. They just wanted to show how, as engineers, they really wanted to take an idea and make it a reality. In this case, it is the Silver Edition. Now, all of the Mi 6s have stainless steel frames, which takes a lot in the manufacturing process. However, in trying to make the entire device that sheen of silver, out of tens of thousands of different attempts, maybe only 10 to 20 of them actually make it out of the manufacturing process, making this a highly sought after device because it's, well, technically really hard to make. But if you're looking for the most premium version of the Mi 6, well, Xiaomi is sticking to their ceramic guns. If you remember the Mi Mix, there was a ceramic edition of that looked really great, and we still enjoy that material for these smartphones, and Xiaomi is going back to that well for the Mi 6. This is the most premium version, and it comes with 128 gigabytes of onboard storage and 18-karat gold to line the cameras on the back. So we can go ahead and get into the specifications. All of the screens for the Mi 6 are 1080p panels at more conventional 16:9 aspect ratios, making them just a little bit behind all of the current specifications for flagships that we've seen thus far in 2017. However, it does have highly saturated colors that do the MIUI justice, and there is also an eye care mode that is a lot like the blue light filter. However, they've dialed it back so that if you want to use the blue light filter or the eye care mode, it's not going to put that aggressive yellow hue on everything. Beneath the display is the capacitive array, including a home button that's a little bit reminiscent of the HTC 10. Basically a small area that does get you back to home, but it also doubles as the fingerprint reader. And if you look at the glass in the four corners, at least on the front, it has a four-way curved glass that allows it to literally wrap around the front of the device. Meanwhile, if you turn the phone around, the glass curves upward so that it would make the entire device a little bit easier to handle in one hand. Definitely more of a comfortable grip. So that covers design. Let's go deeper underneath the surface. Xiaomi has positioned itself as the first manufacturer to bring the Snapdragon 835 to China. 6GB is the standard for RAM, and there are different capacities for onboard storage. Like we mentioned already, the Ceramic Edition has 128GB of onboard storage. And the battery is one of the bigger deals with this phone, as it sports 3350 mAh. We're still going to do our full testing on this device. However, it is interesting to note that with a 5.15-inch 1080p display, and then this 3350 mAh battery, the ratio between the two is higher than most flagship devices. However, in order to make that type of battery fit in the Xiaomi Mi 6, unfortunately the company had to do away with one key element, the headphone jack. Xiaomi's moves in the camera are very notable as well. In the era of the dual camera, Xiaomi is bringing its own flavor to it by bringing a dual camera setup that has a regular wide angle and also a telephoto lens that adds a 2x optical zoom. This is a little bit like the iPhone 7 Plus, and it also comes with a couple of features you might recognize from there as well, including a portrait mode. Now, I was able to take the Ceramic Edition, and it is the one that we are going to review, out for a few tests when it comes to the camera at the Temple of Heaven in Beijing. Now, photos did come out quite well, at least in my initial testing, and you can see them here in the video, but also video gets a little bit of a bump up as the main camera, the main wide-angle camera, has 4-axis stabilization. Now, unfortunately, one of the big drawbacks to this camera array, at least for now, is that you're not able to zoom when recording video. I have been told that this is not a hardware limitation, and this could become a feature in future versions of the MIUI, but they will stop short of actually guaranteeing me that that would happen. For a little bit more depth of field from the f1.8 aperture lenses, you can use the portrait mode, which is a lot like the one you find in the iPhone 7. Now, essentially, it's going to zoom in and then add a lot of bokeh in the background of a cutout subject. This is a little bit different from the Huawei P10 bokeh effect in that you can't really control the amount of depth of field that you get. However, it does do a pretty good job of finding the subject, cutting it out, and then adding the effect. But you do have to be rather close to the subject. Any farther back, and you might get a little bit of blurriness on the subject itself. So with very little to say about the software, all of these hardware changes are the crux of the Xiaomi Mi 6 experience. MIUI is constantly changing, however, under the guidance of its forum members, and we could see some changes come in the future. But for now, the Mi 6 is a conglomeration of some of the best features we've seen in the past year put into one package. So how much does this cost? Actually, it's surprisingly affordable. For a Snapdragon 835, 6GB of RAM, and a dual camera, users can get the phone, the base model, for the RMB equivalent of $360. If you want to go for the full premium to the ceramic edition, then it would only bring it up to a total equivalent of about $435. In the West, this is a price that's kind of unheard of for something that packs all these features into what is considered a flagship device. My first impressions thus put the Mi 6 in a pretty positive spot, as it does pack a lot of great features into a package that hopefully will become more refined as updates come in.